Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we are going to be talking about crochet charts, both like your tapestry crochet and filet crochet. So why don't we jump right into the graph patterns that I have drafted up for you, and I'll show you a little bit about them. Okay, so ignore the little notes that I made here. I tried recording this video once already and my mic was not working, so it didn't capture the audio. So we're trying this again. So this is more or less what a crochet chart is gonna kind of look like. So you can use pretty much any chart that you have found online. You can use ones for like the alpha patterns for like the fancy bracelets. You can use perler bead designs. There are all kinds of things out there that you can use to make a crochet chart. So long as you have a graphed image, you can make a chart with it. So in the terms of doing like tapestry crochet, for example, you're going to be working right to left, left to right, right to left, from the bottom up in your image. However, this is where the little bit of a tricky part comes in, is if you are left-handed working a pattern, if it's this image that's symmetrical like this one, so if you were to just cover up half of that image, it's going to look exactly the same. So in symmetrical images, when you're left-handed, it's not going to matter what side that you start from. But if it's an image that is not symmetrical, so like I say, it's like a picture of a sleeping cat, just for a random example, the image is not going to be symmetrical. So what you actually need to do is flip it and work in reverse. So you more or less need to mirror it, just so that way the front of your project comes out the way that it's supposed to. But if you were to look at, like, say this chart and you were wanting to do corner to corner, it doesn't matter where you start or if you're left-handed or you're right-handed, because you're always working the front side of the pattern, and it's just a matter of, you know, flipping back and forth or rotating more or less with what you're doing. So with tapestry crochet, you're working full row by row by row, whereas with corner to corner, you would be working from like this corner to this corner, or say this corner to this corner. So you would work this box, and then these two boxes, and then these three boxes, and then these four boxes. So it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter where you start, so long as you're following the consistency of your pattern. If you're working corner to corner, it might help if you were to like number where your starting points are. So that would be 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down here. Because you'd start this way, and then go this way, and then go this way, and back up. All right, and then going to like these notes I've got up here. Okay, so you found this chart, this little smiley face here, and it is 10 stitches by 10 rows. Okay, I like this, but I want to make it a little bigger. 10 rows by 10 stitches is not very big at all, right? So what you could do is double it. So whenever you want to enlarge a picture, you always want to do the same thing that you do vertically as you want to do horizontally. So if you were to just increase the height, like just say you were just doubling the height of this image, it's going to be stretched out this way, but it's still going to be real skinny. Or if you were to do it horizontally, it's going to be real long, but it's not going to be very tall. It's going to be real short. So the best way to do this would be to more or less just draw on your diagram, and you want to take like this whole block where this would normally be one whole stitch in of itself, and you want to split it horizontally, and you want to split it vertically. So now going from 1 stitch, you've now made it 4 stitches instead. And you can even go more than that. Okay, so you want to make it a 30 by 30. So what you would do is you'd take a stitch, or take your boxes, and you want to split them into thirds. So you've got a 9 by 9. So just keep in mind that whatever you do going vertically, you want to do horizontally as well, so you don't distort your image. But if you were looking at this like as a filet crochet pattern, and I've got another chart here, most filet crochet patterns are done in double crochet. And the one thing that tripped me up when I did my first filet crochet pattern was keeping in mind that the last double crochet of your first box is also the first double crochet of the next box. So technically each box has 4 stitches in it. That fourth is also a first. So when you're looking at an actual filet crochet pattern, so just imagine that this is one, these yellow boxes would be open spaces, and these black ones would be filled in spaces. So for your open spaces, it's going to look like this box here, where you've got your double crochet, chain 2, leaving 2 open spaces, and another double crochet. And you just kind of make these open mesh boxes for all of your open spaces. But when you were to do a filled in, you would have your double crochet, then you would do 2 more double crochets, and then you'd have your in-between stitch, and that would make one whole box. And then technically you're into the next box. So if you were to have a filled in box like here next to an open box, so I'll draw it up here, so you will have your double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, there's a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. And that's what it would look like. And then the same thing over here. For here, you would start out with double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet, because this stitch here, the first stitch is also the last stitch, or the last stitch is also the first stitch. So that's kind of what these 3 boxes here would look like. Now, if you wanted to change the size of like a filet crochet pattern, it is a little more tricky than just, you know, doubling your images, because it might not, your image might not come out correctly doing it that way. The first suggestion I would have is, okay, what was the chart originally for, and how big are you trying to go with it, or how small are you trying to go with it? So my first suggestion would be to change the hook and yarn size that you're going with, because a lot of filet crochet patterns that I have seen are like doilies. So I've got this image. This is from a book that I copied from a friend, where it's like a little table runner kind of sorts. So it's real thin, like crochet thread, and you can see where you've got the mesh in between, and then you've got your filled in stitches, and it creates that image. And you could totally do it in reverse as well. So if you wanted, you know, this home sweet home in the little house to be your open mesh spaces, you absolutely could. And that's where, you know, that's up to, you know, you as the maker. But when it comes to increasing or decreasing, it's either change your hook and yarn size, or you need to play around with the height of your stitches and what your spaces in between kind of look like. So if you were going to increase your height, you could do, instead of doing double crochets, you could do a treble crochet. So it's just slightly taller. If you wanted to do, sorry, the table is shaking, the cat is just scratching herself. If you wanted to make this smaller, so you could do single crochet instead, but changing what stitch you do, you're only changing the height of your project. You also need to take into account the width of your project, because now you're going to distort your image. So you kind of have to play around and see with what kind of works, as far as, okay, do I need to go down to, you know, 1 stitch in between? So your box is going to be 1 stitch, this stitch, and this stitch, and then your open stitches just have 1 chain in the middle. I mean, you always need to keep this last and first stitch. That's just a given when it comes to filet crochet. But you may need to change what your spaces look like. And if you were to go taller, you may then need to do 1, 2, 3 and have 5 in a box, and then do 1, 2, 3, and have an open space. So changing the shape and size of your filet crochet patterns might be a little more tricky than just doing your corner to corner or your tapestry crochets. Okay, so you might be thinking now, all right, Mel, I know about crochet charts. Plain and simple. Got it. Understood. How do I make my own though? So there's a couple different options that you have. So you could just get a piece of plain graph paper and you can use pencils. You can make little designs if you don't have colored pencils. I mean, obviously you can use colored pencils if you have those at your disposal, and you can make images that way. However, I'm going to show you a little bit about my favorite website to use to make graph patterns, and that is Stitch Fiddle. So why don't we hop onto the computer real quick and I will show you Stitch Fiddle. So my favorite website to go to is Stitch Fiddle. This, in my opinion, is the best website for creating crochet charts. So you're going to click on that first option that pops up when you search Stitch Fiddle, and it'll take you to a screen like this. So you see it's got all kinds of different options for you to choose. So I'll pick crochet, and there's a whole bunch of different options there. And I'm just going to click on crochet colorwork. And then here it'll let you pick what kind of yarn that you want, and there's all kinds of brands here. We'll just go with Big Twist Value because that's usually what I use. And then you can either make an empty chart of your own design, a picture, or a QR code. So if you were to click from picture, you can actually drag and drop a file so you can have a picture, like say you took a picture of your dog and you want to make it into a blanket. You can do that. So we'll just go back into here, select all the same options. We're going to do our own chart. And here you can change the size of whatever chart that you want to do. So we'll just say 50 by 50. You know, that'll make a project pretty decent. And you'll click on Create Chart, and it'll open up a little graph for you. And I'll zoom out here. And then it's got a whole bunch of options, and you can also add new colors as well. So it gives you like a basics to start out with. Now, if you have the premium version of this, which I do have, you can add several colors at a time, and there's some other features in there that you can do, like filling in a whole section. But with just the free version that you can use, you know, you get a very limited tools. So I'll just draw a little heart here for you and just kind of show you how simple it is to create a chart. So here's the fill option. So you need an account to fill in. I just didn't want my information out there. And again, I'm used to using the premium, which I think was only a couple dollars for like an entire year. I want to say it was like $12 for a whole year. I might be wrong on that one. But literally you're just, if you've got a simple image that you want to do, you can literally just click and drag and paint, kind of like we did with the old Microsoft Paint when we were kids. I mean, that might be dating me a little bit, but super simple to just make your own chart. So I will just go ahead and fill this in and kind of show you what it would look like when it's all done. So when you're logged into an account, you can actually then save those charts to be able to download. When you have the free version, I believe that you can only have like 12 that you can save at any one point in time. However, if you have the premium version, you can have an unlimited amount of charts that you save to your account. But you also have to create an account to be able to save them in the first place or to even download them. But it's completely free. I mean, this is a great resource that is out there and available to you that you do not need to pay for. Like I said, I do have the premium version and I think it's absolutely wonderful. There's definitely some quality of life things that I'm more than happy to pay for with this. But if that's not something that you can afford to do at the moment, it is also, there's a totally free option as well. And there you have it. Just a quick, simple, dirty guide to crochet charts. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them down in the comments. If you're an experienced Graphgan or Filet crochet crafter, let us know some tips and tricks down below that you've learned in your years of experience in doing those. So I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on those notifications so that way you can be alerted at the next time that I upload a video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.